speaker series. My name is Annie Yap from AYP Group. AYP is a HR tech and services market leader in Southeast Asia. This speaker series webinar is part of our constant effort to share our insights from our research and experience in the business to our community. The world has indeed changed exponentially the last 6 months due to COVID. We are in the midst of a storm with great uncertainty and unrest still hovering around us. And you know what, I was told that today Philippines, have just changed the alert from yellow to orange. Yeah, you have heard this saying, like all storms, these too will pass. Either we wait for the thunder clouds to cross, or we adapt and make the best of the situation and craft a new path forward in the brave new world. I'm very happy to introduce you to our guest speaker, Ms. Michelle Rubio. Michelle, can you say hi to our audience?
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me, Annie. This is going to be an interesting discussion.
Yes, looking forward to that also. Ms. Michelle Rubio holds the position of EVP of HR and CSR. She's also the CHRO at Union Bank at the Philippines. Prior to this, she was the VP and the Philippines country HR, quality and corporate communications head of the global electrical engineering and power company, ABB. She was a senior consultant at OTI Consulting Singapore, where she got involved with government and private organizations in establishing Singapore quality class, people developer, industry capability upgrading certifications, work life and work redesign. For these capabilities, she was certified by Spring Singapore. In 2018, Michelle received the Silver CHRO of the Year from the Stevie Awards for Great Employers in New York. Please remember that this is a conversation. Do continue to post your questions on the chat group or the Q&A, and our guest speaker will be answering them later. So Michelle, so I understand that, I know that Union Bank is a very progressive bank in digital solutions. So when this COVID happened, so how did Union Bank respond to the situation?
So when we heard about the spread of COVID, we immediately went into a group chat. We gathered everyone, all the internal stakeholders, to try and evaluate the situation. And it wasn't looking good. So we reviewed our pandemic plan. We anticipated different scenarios and prepared for the contingencies so that we can achieve business continuity. And so what have we done? Preparations included splitting or having a buddy system or team arrangement for our frontliners. And we had a work from home setup for about 70 to 80% of our workforce. So our sales, product operations, and support teams up to this day are supporting the bank working from home. The thing that is really very interesting is, we had to grab every PPE, protective equipment that we could hold off. So we stockpiled on protective equipment, disinfectants, and distributed this to our employees. We created the playbook of our protocols because this was an unprecedented event. We taught our people how to use masks, hand washing, social distancing. We even came up with a certification program, educated people with an online training for them to understand how to implement such protocols. And later, so we've been into this for almost 4 months. We started testing our employees 2 months ago and provided them telemed facilities because it's really scary to go back to the hospital. So there's this, so people can just call, dial a number, a hotline, and a doctor would attend to you immediately. We conducted contact tracing and quarantined those who were exposed. We provided our employees with transportation because during the ECQ, the public transportation was put on hold, but our frontliners had to continue to work because banking was an essential service. So we also discovered that people working from home were pretty much isolated, feeling the isolation and worrying about the situation. So we put up a counseling service to address mental health issues and anxiety issues. And we continue to provide pulse surveys or check-ins with our employees to understand their situation and what they're going through, so that we can address this immediately. So I did a lot. Those are the ones. And
that's so amazing.
Busy HR that we have in the
Wow, that's so amazing. I mean, there's so much, things that the bank has really did for its employees. I think I'm particularly intrigued by one of the point that you put it, like, the plan. When this thing happened, the team come together and put together a playbook and plan. I think that is really, like, something very comforting, at least like for the people. They know that the company has a plan, because people are just, like, so confused and don't know what is so fearful and what's going on and things like that, right? Yeah.
Right. It's important to put things on like, say, paper. Not paper, digital. So put things on a format that everyone can align to. So we've had various playbooks already as a result of the pandemic. So we have this health protocols. We have a playbook for return to work.
Yeah, would you
playbook for working from home?
Yeah, would you share your playbook from working from home? I think this is what a lot of companies, they need to do, because I guess, like, a lot of companies are still, like, tying working hours to performance. Yeah. So, but as time, as like, the pandemic unfolds and all this, it's very clear that social distancing, remote working is going to be the new normal, right? So companies must change the mindset to really tying the working hours to performance, and then more into outcomes, to performance. So how did Union Bank do that?
So what's important is that work is not anymore time-based. Time-based is like agreeing that you are going to work from, because when you sign the employment contract, you will work from 8:30 to 5:30 or 9 to 6. That mindset shift has to happen, because work now is becoming more output-based.
Yes.
And I can just imagine that people who are working from home, I don't have toddlers anymore, so I have a young adult, and are the parents working employees who have kids would have to deal with all of this, juggling work, the housework, and the young kids in the home. So sometimes the 8 to 5, 9 to 6 arrangement may not be the ideal setup, or expecting people to be tuned in only on those times may not be the ideal setup, and therefore we should be allowing some flexibility today for as long as we deliver on the results. So we are also thinking about this all the time, because we tried to adapt to the situation, but we need to train our leaders to be more like virtual leaders. So instead of doing checkups, you actually check in. Are available for consultation. You are very clear with them. If this is the week, what output would you contribute to the entire team, and how might we collaborate better? What support do you need? Is there anything I can do for you to coach you and make you more prepared and settled in this kind of situation where there's so much?
Yeah. So for this virtual leadership, I thought it's so, interesting. And I think it's really very important. It's no longer like physical leadership. You really need, to kind of like be able to communicate online, and also like to lead online. Like maybe you want to elaborate more. I think our audience would be very interested to find out like how, Union Bank did that or how you guys did that.
So teaming and collaboration is very important to us. The leader has the ability to engage employees or team members. So first and foremost, that you need to ask people if they know what is expected of them and be very clear with that. You also have to provide them the tools and the support. And even if we are working from home or remotely, I think it's important that people need to be trained, and the training and learning doesn't stop. Because today, I'll give Union Bank as an example. We are finding that ourselves accelerating in terms of digital, whereas before maybe the adoption of the environment is not as fast. Today, we are forced to adopt digitally, and therefore we will see more customers looking for digital solutions because of this contactless society that we're in, and people are finding that digital is a good, really better alternative than physically going to places or stores and you can have your answers immediately, etc. But because of that, the bank is forced to create products and services digitally, and the learning that we need to create those products and services has to accelerate because
Absolutely.
technical skills, digital skills have to be learned so that no one gets left behind. So we have a sign in the bank that no one gets left behind. It means taking people along with you through this journey of uncertainty, but more importantly, transformation.
Yeah. I think this is really good in terms of like really like in offering digital solutions to your clients. Yeah, because I think other than the employees internally, you really need to also help your clients, to kind of like move on, in their business journey. Yeah. So that they can also learn to transform, like what you say, in this business world, because right now pivoting is everything, right? Yeah. So like even in AYP, our HR solutions also face a big demand, coming in, recently because of the pandemic. Companies used to kind of like process their payroll, in the office because of security reasons and all this. But with our online solution, they can actually process anywhere and any time, and it's highly secured, because we have our on the cloud. Yeah. So how did Union Bank overcome this? Because as a bank, right, there's always this saying like, to put this on the cloud, and people are skeptical. But with this pandemic, I think it's really very important to put, everything on the cloud. Yeah. So that you can access remotely, anytime.
Yeah. So we have various channels for our product offering. So one is the branch, and the other is our digital app, which is can be synonymous to what you call putting things on the cloud, because you don't have to physically go to a bank to bank. So there's an app. So our branch people in the physical branches during the pandemic have to handhold a lot of our customers to convert them to the digital app, So it's called Union Bank Online, and customers can transact there, transfer money, accept check deposits without going to the branch. But and so because of that, it has kept our customers safe as well.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic, we were surprised because the bank quality customer survey on retail banks, so covering 11,000 respondents across Asia, has ranked Union Bank to be the second most helpful bank in Asia Pacific.
Congratulations.
And it's because of the effort to bring customers into the app, and it has kept them safe.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that, because I think the Union Bank has always been like very progressive in really the transformation digitally and very forward looking. Yeah, because I've also been like we were also using Union Bank, and I have always received like email notifications on like webinar to attend on how to bring our product and solutions, our products online. And also I find that it's really very helpful. Yeah, as a bank, you really take your safety, your well-being of not just your employees, but also, your customers at heart. Yeah. So just now you mentioned about telemedicine. I think that is really very amazing. Yeah, because I mean, I never expect, an employer to do that. Yeah, but how did you do it? And and I think this must have like been very well received by the employees, and they must be really, really very happy.
Yeah, we're attuned to the needs of our people. So there is this issue about going to the hospital to have a checkup. So but you don't really need a checkup most of the time. You just want to consult a doctor, and based on symptoms and all that, the doctor can actually attend to you. And so these are it could be many things, like a simple ailment, or maybe even those who tested positive for COVID. They are actually being called by the doctor every day to check on their condition, and ensuring that they get well. So we partnered with a health provider, and they've been very they are amazing actually, and never has it crossed my mind before COVID that we would be coming to this point that even healthcare could be. We also offer, you need a prescription. They can send you the medicines.
Wow.
Via courier. One of the things that has helped in this pandemic is activating the supply chain through digital. You have couriers bringing you stuff at the comfort of your home, and it has accelerated a lot of the e-commerce. On the e-commerce side, it's this.
Wow, that again, like really, like very aligned to your motto: never leave any man behind. Yeah. So you mentioned about like really like constantly upgrading their skills. So what do you think are the skill set required for the future workforce?
So I think that agility and constant adaptation is important. The other one is collaboration, so that you can innovate on products and services. And the third one is being comfortable with digital tools. So in Union Bank, we already made a conscious effort to transform ourselves as an agile workforce. So when we innovate products and services, we get into squads and teams, cross-functional people coming together, working on a product or service, and in every 2 or 4 weeks, we iterate and provide a minimum viable product. So when we offer products and services, you can expect changes and tweaks and improvements every 2 to 4 weeks. So we abide by a timeline for all of this to happen. And then, of course, the collaboration, which is working with others, is an important factor in this work arrangement. So even today, as we work from home, we continue to do that. So it's very easy to navigate, resilient through this.
Yeah. So I guess it's really like what you say, it's very important to be, to have the agility, and also the constant adaptation to, environment, and the collaboration, amongst teams, and of course the company to really support them, to have to give them tools, enable them to do their work, or to be comfortable with the digital tools, and not to reject, any new stuff, and of course to adhere to certain timeline when you complete, certain projects, right? Yeah, very, very, very good. Yep. So, what are some of the new ways that new BCP, Union Bank has adopted over the last 4 months during this pandemic? Something new that is not like your regular BCP.
Yeah. So we have started working home. So a few weeks or days before, we already trained people on handling data and data security. So one of the things that we provided people is secure access to our core systems, and also ensuring that we roll out or cascade another playbook follow how to handle data and how to make sure that we are securely performing our work. At the back end, of course, we have people who are also handling this data and data security.
I see. So you mentioned about Playbook, right? So sometimes it's easy to come up with a playbook, but how do you ensure that it's being tracked, and people really follow the playbook regularly, diligently?
Yes, so we have a leaders play a very important role in this. But basically, the cascades are very simple to understand.
Okay, make it simple.
In our learning platform, and we track who has taken, not taken. We ensure that there are knowledge checks, so that we can check on whether people understand the protocols and what to do. And there are periodic check-ins with the line managers, also to reinforce what they learned.
Okay, so in essence, make the playbook simple to understand, to follow, and then has various checkpoints, to make sure that they kind of really follow, and to have periodic check-ins. So the leaders play a very important role in this aspect.
Yes. So another important aspect is storytelling. So we have a Facebook page. We have a local area where we can post announcements of stories of people across the bank, and telling how they have applied all these learnings, and how are people coping, and all that. Storytelling actually helps reinforce the behaviors.
I see. Awesome. Yeah. So I think we can move on to questions from the audience, because we have many questions that come pouring in. So I'll start with the first one first. Yeah. So someone asked, how severe has COVID-19 affected banks?
Banking is an essential business. So
exactly, yes.
we are there even in the midst of the pandemic. So it's not like we only have medical workers as frontliners. So bankers are also frontliners
Yeah.
available to serve the public. So we were also helping many of the industries because, of course, working with the government, we have this opportunities to serve people like for example, when it comes to loans, the deferred payments and, without any issues with regard to interest or payment of principal, that was actually institutionalized across the banking industry in relation to the directive of government to provide some help to industries in the midst of the pandemic. Yeah. So we are very much active in supporting industries and the economy, ensuring the flow of money, ensuring that individuals, corporations, MSMEs have the necessary support to keep the lights on.
Yeah, so it just shows that banks are also like not being spared, from the hit of the COVID-19. But at the end of the day, is really how you continue to innovate and transform and be resilient, and really get out of this situation. Right. Okay, so we have another question from Olivia. So she asked, for employees who are working from home, have they faced any internet, server connection problems? I think this is like typically quite common in Philippines or, the region.
Yes, so we've had that. And I think it comes from, because, we have different experiences. It depends where we are or where we live.
Yes.
So connectivity could sometimes be an issue, especially a lot of people are connected. Yes.
Yeah. So from Yumi, she asked, given the past few months of lockdown and working from home, is there anything that you have come to a realization that something or some thoughts got to be dismissed? Like, for example, a BCP plan, the effectiveness of work from home, does work-life balance exist? So any advice to the employers or employees out there?
Yes, so we've had that. So one of the things we discovered is that people worry about the COVID, and that has come up as one of the top issues of in our survey of employees. Generally, people are feeling anxious, and so we are trying our best to ensure that we talk to people and try to instill some hope because it's important to connect and people don't feel isolated and they have some to talk to during this time. So
for employees, right, sometimes if you come to work, you can actually differentiate, because you come out, you prepare yourselves, you take the public transport and you go to work. And then at 5 o'clock, you off work. You can draw a line, but there are some, that couldn't, they just worked like, throughout. I mean, my sister-in-law works, for MNC, and she says that there's overwhelming demand. She's in the technology space. So sometimes she has to work until 5 a.m. It's just go on and on. Yeah. So how do you advise employees on that?
That is part of the development of a virtual leader. I think a problem with working remotely is that you're always on, right? So we have to be conscious about that because it could result to burnout. So we need to be conscious of that as well, to provide space for our team members to breathe or to also have that kind of balance, even if they can do they can do everything remotely. So you have to give them some rest and space.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It really is up to the leader.
Okay, so for we have another question. What are the new services or products that Union Bank have come out for its users to decrease their visits to the bank?
So we have this, you can deposit a check by taking a picture of it and then letting the app, doing it through the app, and the amount will be credited. The other one is during the pandemic, we were able to develop a product wherein, remittance is a big thing here in the Philippines. So people, Filipinos from abroad send money, and it's done through, collected at the other end through partners like a pawn shop, etc. So we developed an app, a part of the app, a product or service where we can transfer money to recipient, either through Palawan Express, Buluwilir, LBC, PeraHub. These are our partners, and they can claim the money from the other end through these partners. That was developed during the pandemic. And the other one we developed is bonds.ph. You can actually invest in government bonds online. These are small amounts. So the lowest denomination is 5,000 pesos. So this is also done. You can download the app Bonds.ph. It's powered by Union Bank. So those are the products and services, and we continue to products and services with people working from home.
Wow, that's really good. You have like product for investments, for corporate customers, for even like overseas remittance. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Yeah. So I have a question. Someone asked, is there any financial assistance plan that Union Bank has to help out the businesses in the Philippines? Because in overseas, in some countries, like in Singapore, we do have like some loans, we call it temporary bridging loan, supported by the government. So how is it in Philippines or Union Bank?
Yeah, so even before the pandemic, we already have products for MSMEs. That's a segment that we're focusing on. So we have ties with Global Linker, and also our SME products, business line, providing loans to MSMEs. That's already been in place even before. And we continue to reach out to MSMEs who might be in need of support from a bank like Union Bank.
Wow, that is fantastic. I think right now a lot of businesses really like, cash is really king, for them. So with the financial assistance, they definitely, will be able to tie through this period.
Yes.
Yeah. Do your frontline employees face any challenges commuting to work?
Well, there are challenges because under a community quarantine, the strictest is ECQ. Now we're MECQ. That's the next level. The public transportation is not readily available because the whole idea is to stay at home. But frontliners need to work, so we provide shuttle services. And
so transport.
Transport and organize carpooling for them, for those who transport.
Okay. Yeah. We have an anonymous attendee. They ask about Union Bank is an MNC. In your opinion, how ready was your company in carrying out the BCP implementation?
How
ready? Okay. So
as a bank, we have business continuity plan for practically every scenario.
I'm sure.
So we have those. It's important to plan and just imagine a scenario that could happen and put a plan around it. So prior to the pandemic, I remember, I don't know if you read in the news about the Taal volcano erupting.
Oh yes, yes.
Before the pandemic, right? And a lot of branches and locations also affected by the ashfall. We have a BCP.
Wow.
We cannot have a situation where
that's right.
to be open.
Yes,
because
yes.
our business is based on trust. We hold the public, and therefore it should be accessible to the public itself.
So the whole idea is really to just prepare, ahead of time. Every area, think of every possible scenario that could happen.
And have a plan, although that plan may not be activated, or the plan that you created may not be necessarily applicable, then you need to pivot and adapt. And then I think the discussion we had earlier about playbooks is about communicating. And everyone is on board so that things are clear and everyone can align to what needs to be done.
Yeah. So I think I repeatedly hear you saying that communication is really, very, very key in this whole period and this whole process. Yeah. So that people are aligned, people can collaborate, and they kind of like know what's going on and keep it simple.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I have another question, from the audience. What will be the duration of Union Bank telecommuting arrangement? Will this be based on the government's mandate, or the organization already design a work arrangement policy that will best suit the new normal?
Yeah, so we were thinking about remote working even before the pandemic, but there were blockers in our head. We would not do it. And so we were focused on the limitations rather than the possibilities. But this whole pandemic, we had no choice. And we found this to be the way forward. So we are already talking about the post-pandemic scenario. How might that workplace be? And maybe it would have three kinds of work setup. One is, you cannot really work from home because you interact directly with clients. One is work from home but blended, and I say that because you cannot have work from home really 100%. You need to build the culture. You need to experience it and to have physical interactions, to build friendships, to be human, to not use the screen.
Yes, I agree totally.
So we need to have blended to actually know who our coworkers are, and to have those rituals where we can build the culture. But we are also reserving the 100% work from home when we start working with gig workers, because it's coming up, engaging, especially in a digital world, that you will be working with people who work for themselves, but partnering to provide additional capabilities to keep the company going.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, uh, you already plan, like, just like 3-4 steps, not just one step ahead, but 3-4 steps ahead. And I think these three scenarios are very, very real. Yeah. So I think these three scenarios can really cover everything about the new normal, because there will be a group that you cannot work from home, like what you say, because they need their customer fronting, people, and there most likely will be the blended type, but really the culture, how are we going to continue to engage the culture? And then sometimes friendships, can only be built when you see face to face. Yeah. And finally is really to tap onto the gig workforce. And the gig workforce is not just like, Philippines, you can actually tap the gig workforce globally, right? Yeah. So that really opened up to a lot of opportunities.
Right.
Yeah, in fact. Yeah. So on the point on the culture, yeah. So as we as you share, it's difficult, to really build friendships virtually, and likewise, it's difficult to build culture virtually, especially so for like newcomers, So if you onboard them virtually, it's very difficult. I mean, for first week they're okay, for 1 month maybe they're okay, but after a while they can't feel, like what's the culture of Union Bank. So how do you, kind of like build that culture or maintain, that Union Bank culture?
Yes. So prior to the pandemic, we have a strong culture program. And that has actually carried us through our transformation to digital. But so we have built a social capital with our employees, and that has carried us through that. We are now working with virtually, but as an HR person, that is a primary concern. How do you sustain and how do you build culture remotely? So we have several strategies of engaging leaders, engaging our managers, and some of the rituals that has happened virtually are not only does not only concern work, but some of the rituals we've institutionalized has a lot to do with wellness. So we have brown bag sessions, we have discussions virtually about parenting in the new normal, we have how to help others, we have brown bag sessions on nutrition, and now we also are establishing interest clubs virtually. So we have an interest club because 64% of our workforce are really millennials, and what's keeping them going is gaming. So we host esports.
Esports.
Yeah. And then so we're going to start a Zumba club, a yoga club. And we have calligraphy and all that, and just to have fun and experience the fun that we had recreate that fun we have in the workplace. Because we love being together, actually, our people. So much fun.
I'm sure. I mean, I hear, you speak, I can really, yeah. So, I can really feel the vibes already of Union Bank.
Yeah.
Sounds very fun.
So we recreate those things virtually. But the other thing is we have opportunities where we can hear our president and CEO. He has this channel, a podcast called Ed Talks. His name is Edwin Bautista, our president. And he would have this fireside chats with executives, and he'd be the one to interview. So, I mean, these are just examples. I'm telling the story how we do it, but these are things that keep us going, that inspire us. And I think as the pandemic continues, maybe we'll have more and more of that.
Yeah.
Have
Wow.
and experience each other.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. I mean, I have learned so much, in this 45-minute session. Yeah. I think really to really thrive and to embrace the new normal, companies need to continue to innovate, be agile, and overly communicate. It's better to over communicate to their people, and also to have playbooks. Yeah, very important to have playbooks for everything. Yeah. Whatever it is, must have a plan. Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. So with this, we have come to the end of this webinar. Michelle, thank you so much. I really, really look forward to meet you in person once this pandemic is over. Yeah, so we're so thankful, to you to provide your time to share your insights to our audience. Me and I'm sure all the audience have really learned so much, from you. We continue to work hard and really thrive, and we must overcome this pandemic. Yeah. So if you enjoy our webinar today, please feel free to join our next webinar session of this series scheduled for tomorrow for Malaysia, 13th of August for Vietnam, 18th of August for Indonesia, 21st of August for Thailand. And follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn for more updates. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Do feel free to email us at ph@ayp-group.com. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Ashley.
and thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.